The note is written with a blue pencil on a piece.
Does it say anything interesting?
This is tangential at best, but the lieutenant's detective instinct is still active. Someone has scribbled, S. I can't believe the off-site copy is still here. The illiterate ginger kid keeps stealing stuff from the studio, so I had to hide it somewhere safe. You'll find the filament memory with the off-site copy in the frozen ice cream maker. Please take it home, ASAP. It's important. I'd do it myself if I lived in a civilized place with a freezer. Take care, Suliswaf.
Looks like someone from that radio game company upstairs. I'm a little surprised they just left their property lying here.
The lieutenant nods. It's the ledger you found in the trash, a cabbage of papers hanging from the board, with the permeables drawer inside. It's barely held together by a clip, then made complete by the faint smell of urinal cleaner. They're not exactly white. They're yellowed in patches by sunlight and alcohol, and covered in dense blue handwriting. Ink escapes into watercolor patterns, reaching its tendrils across entire pages. The paper itself is checkered, with faint red lines forming short paragraphs. Once in a while, there's a red stamp that exclaims, "Case files commit to paper." The case files themselves are plenty. You count more than 100 sodden, crumpled up, earmarked pages falling apart in your hands. They appear to be sufficiently organized and extremely dense, if mostly illegible. Work, strife, poverty, the Jamrock Quarter. These are handwritten logs of investigations dating back to January 51, this year. The exact number is hard to estimate due to missing pages and an odd naming convention. But there are at least 20, maybe 30 cases undertaken, not completed, mind you. It's the middle of March. You have attempted 2 cases a week on average.
Huh? 2 complex cases to undertake is a lot, yes. You really have to push yourself. I would not suggest it, lest you start making mistakes. That's a lot. This kind of case load would explain your solved cases tally on the watermark. I didn't mean to say you are making mistakes, by the way. That was presumptuous of me. That's okay. We all do, sooner or later.
Like a fan of gills, the checkered papers dry in your hand. The handwriting is extremely dense, if mostly illegible. Yes, it appears you employ a, shall we say, robust yet literary system. Each investigation has its case number written on the margins. Yet, still more tellingly, most are accompanied by a name. A title, one might say even. One that draws inspiration from Snoop fiction and Vespertine cop show staples. Yes, all caps. One is called The Next World Mural. Another, The Square Bullet Hole Murders. Another yet, The Unsolvable Case. Others appear more light-hearted. The guys on a couch in an unexpected location, and the murder at the hookah parlor. Even the rare article-free collapsing tenement. Murder features prominently throughout. It's going to take an effort to piece these case files together, but it can be done. Once you're done inspecting them up close.
You mean the alphanumeric? Officer, precinct, time of arrival at the scene? Oh, you mean the titular? Yes, well, so do I. In our defense, almost everyone in the RCM does. It's a holdover from the early days of the RCM, right after the revolution, when the organization had little idea how to do things. It persists in an unofficial capacity. Officers use these titles to refer to their work among themselves. Again, in your defense, I seem to have named one, the man with the hole in his head. That was a real person. His death was real. Still, I named it that, to amuse myself. I pray his loved ones never find out. Rail spiked through the head. He died. It was a workplace accident.
There is, for precisely one more. 15 pages near the end remain untouched by the damage. The checkered grid forms a structure of passages, breaking the case into subtasks to accomplish. The tasks you've completed flow out of the kind green ape pen in a brash freehand similar to the rest of the letters. The wording comes easily. It's almost robotically simple, a language developed for mental rigor and simplicity. Inspect the victim's body. Interview the cafeteria manager. It's not exactly poetry, but poetry would be out of place. A satisfying slash sounds across the paper. You're done, it seems to say. And you, and you. Things to be done and things already done. The composition of reality. This is an extremely useful tool for a detective of the citizens' militia. Now all that remains is to name the case.
No, actually. Any ideas? Furies. Yes, well, I don't know. I have to be honest, I'm not experiencing the internal strife that refers to. And also, could you make it less poetic somehow? Just a normal case name, you know? Think, what would that be? A good normal name.
Yes, you know what that normal name is, but it's so plain. Anything else, please.
Yes. I have to tell you, officer, I don't appreciate ironic titles. Other officers will have to use this as reference. If it's idiot or cockfinger, they're not going to get it. They're going to think an idiot and a cockfinger were on this case. So, do you have something less funny?
Fun is outlawed with this guy. What a knock!
Great. That's great. That's actually what I was thinking too. The Hanged Man. Good, strong name. We have a very good name for the case now. I'm going to start calling it the Hanged Man. It's good we sorted this out.
You don't exactly close them, so much as distance yourself from the smelly papers. They're a little further from you. It's proving to be harder than expected. You just don't have the intellectual rigor to patch the quilt back together. Try again later. In the back, you see thin, translucent copy of paper. Some neon yellow, some bright red, all covered in boxes, like marching armies. These look like official forms, waiting to be filled out. Then rip them from the binder and hand them out, according to type of form. 3. The topmost are misconduct fines, the middle ones are station calls, and the bottommost are field autopsy forms. Each is easy enough to make sense of. You don't have to be an intellectual giant to do police work. These are quite sinister in tone. They give a date and time for the person to appear at the specified precinct police station. Below the call are the criminal charges you risk by not appearing. The rest of the stinking cellulose is much worse for wear. Being sandwiched between the board and the rest of the paperwork must have spared the fragile copier paper. It's made of dark blue plastic, hard enough to beat someone to submission with. The edges are rounded, however. The U4 size board feels thick and heavy in your hand. Light shimmers on its wet surface. On the back you see the embossed letters, RCM. Something rattles inside, ever so lightly. Is there a hidden compartment? The plastic shimmers like lapis lazuli, but it is not see-through. You cannot see to its center. Something rattles inside, ever so lightly. Is there the plastic shimmers like with your hands? U4-sized pages hang from the clip screwed to the top of the board. Is not what you end up doing. You squeeze the plastic to slide it open, but nothing happens. Then you bend it some, then crack it. The goddamn thing is stuck. The ledger quivers in your hand. As it shakes, the pages rustle. This pathetic mess suddenly afraid of you for some reason. sturdy metal door guards the southwest entrance to the apartment building. It's locked. The door rattles against your knuckles, but there's no response. The door rattles again, but this time you hear an elderly woman's voice calling out from inside.
Stop banging on the door! I'm not letting any more strangers inside. Doesn't matter who I am. Now go on, get out of here. Ha! The police? Everyone knows the police don't come round here. No, I already told you. I won't be responsible for any more strangers getting into the building. Go check the backyard door. Maybe someone there will.
Backyard door? There must be another entrance to the east.
Madame, I assure you, we are real police officers.
There is no reply. Just faint, sweeping sounds inside. The door rattles again, but this...
Stop banging on the door! Ha! The police... No, I already... Go check the
backyard door. Just an ordinary wall. Nothing to see here. Because you see it, finally. This wall is sublime. Look at it. The shadows, the colors. All the other walls on all the other houses must make a pilgrimage in adoration of this, the uncontested pinnacle of wallcraft, color peeled from the very face of God. O Wall Father. Huh? He sounds tired of it all.
Sure. I suppose we have to pass by it again at some point anyway.
Are you trying to sneak up on me? Come to slit my throat in my sleep? Pigs come to take me out? Trying to snuff me out? Then why are you sneaking up on me like that? It's not a good idea to scare me, pig. Not a good idea at all.
See a heavy steel door with a prominent dimple lock. It's painted blue. You immediately feel drawn to the color. Blue is for mystery. The door does not budge. The cobalt blue surface feels rough to touch. The stainless steel door is flush with its frame on every side.
You do? It's a door in the back of the kitchen. Why do you care where it leads? Eccentric. But okay, I suppose we could look into it. As a side investigation.
He's not bothered by your eccentricity. He seems genuinely intrigued himself. It's hardly a side investigation. You already have a name for it.
If you say so, Gart is the person to ask about this. The cafeteria manager.
Can I help you? Another thing. Great. I love those. Oh yes, that door, sure. There's nothing mysterious about it. It's just a door. No, I don't have a key. I don't know how to get there. And I don't care either. It's not like I've been wondering about it for 10 years. It's just the frit warehouse, probably.
Wondering about it is, of course, exactly what he's been doing for 10 years.
Or some boring storage space with a bunch of old junk and dust. Junk and dust.
He's attempting to maintain an air of indifference. It's absolutely not convincing.
Fine, okay, a little. But my job doesn't leave me time for wondering about one locked door in one of the cafeterias I manage. So I haven't opened it. I have cleaned the whole place 100 times over, though, after the animals. And I haven't found a key, so good luck with that. Yes?
This is the door to the room you redecorated.
Just a moment. We should talk about our progress on the investigation. Let's go out to the balcony.
The air outside is brisk. The lieutenant is silent for a moment. He listens to the traffic hum. Then,
now then, we should talk about the investigation. But I also feel you're a bit hazy on the RCM. Our role here, our rights, our jurisdiction, basically. I have a cigarette every night when I go over my notes. It's something of a ritual.
oh man, he looks so devastatingly cool with that cigarette.
You mean this? This isn't cool. It's an unnecessary trial of will and unhealthy.
Keeping the habit within the parameters he's given himself takes a lot of focus. It would be easier to simply quit.
Yes, it's been a long and eventful day. They're quite limited, actually. The power officers of the Rebel Citizens Militia exercise most frequently is imposing fines of up to 1,000 real for offenses, in accordance with an interdepartmental schedule. Yes, although indirectly, as citizens can always request records from their local station. Officers of the RCM have been known to take bribes of less than the prescribed fine amount. It undermines trust in the RCM. We can arrest people, of course, but rather than bringing someone in directly, it's preferable to serve a station closely. It prevents confusion and overcrowding. You can't. Those who don't show up become fugitives, though, and have fewer legal rights when they are eventually caught. It's about power projection. Thus far, they seem to mostly show up. As you may have gathered from the fact that we are expected to carry a record of our kills, like the one in your watermarks, we are permitted to use whatever force is necessary, and strongly admonished not to abuse that power. Yes, The last time was 4 years ago.
He says it matter-of-factly and moves on.
We don't convict. We arrest and send them to coalition government courts in Couvon and La Delta. The prosecution works off our testimonies and records, which is why it's paramount to keep them. You have to supply compelling evidence for why it was necessary to use lethal force. In these cases, your partner is usually your witness. Not a good position to be in, by the way. Internal Affairs handles these cases thoroughly, by cross-examining you for inconsistencies. It is hard to cover for anyone, which is for the best. The coalition government and the moral intern know about it. The RCM was formed by the coalition government to restore order in the international zone after the revolution. So we did. Now we attempt to maintain that order. No more, no less. Or perhaps it is better to say we were allowed to form. It's a point of contention whether the citizens of Ravachol or the coalition government founded the RCM. Be sentimental if you like. Either way, the moral intern leases us the right to keep the peace in this city, and they will take it away if we misuse it.
Or if they think you do.
Well, we didn't even look at the body. And there's still much to do at the crime scene too. We didn't search it thoroughly enough.
He would have put all of this more harshly, but he doesn't want you to feel completely discouraged. Probably because he's afraid that you'll just give up and keep drinking.
It's not my job to evaluate your methodology, officer. I'm just going through the facts. As for the interviews, we weren't able to find the union leader, Evrard Claire, much less interview him, so that's on the to-do list for tomorrow. We interviewed Joyce Messier, the Wild Pines rep, and learned a lot. None of it very good news for us, or Martinez, but above all though, today was exhausting. What's with all the running? You run a lot. Is that a standard Precinct 41 practice? It's impressive, especially for a man your age, and in those hills. Nice shoes, by the way. I like the green, goes with the orange. The Moralist International are the world's largest political organization. You know who they are. They have been running this place after the revolution failed. They're a union of center-left and center-right parties across the Real Belt. Our coalition government is just one of its many projects. They also run the ICP, EPIS, most intergovernmental organizations in the world. What do they believe in? They are Dolorians. They believe they continue the humanist project set forth by Her Innocence Dolores Day 4 centuries ago. Others say they are just technocrats.
Those others say they continue the humanist project set forth by Dolores Day.
A historic figure? The author of the modern age? You will have to look elsewhere for opinions. The subject of humanism is too abstract for me. Interesting question. It's a blue forget-me-not. Their motto is love, compassion, self-discipline. I think you can gauge what they want you to think of them from that.
Something kind and usual. Something ominous.
The moral intern are a fact. I try not to have opinions on facts until they change. And it doesn't look like that's about to happen.
It is more than that. There's some kind of affection in him.
Yes, I did, when I was younger. In my 20s, I considered myself a moralist. A blue forget-me-not, a piece of the sky. They're not all that bad. But the years have changed that. I don't know what I believe in now. No, I believe in the RCM. That's enough for me. Do you? We are in what is called the twilight of international law. The laws we claim to enforce come from the MI. Without them, we are simply vigilantes. Spoken like a revolutionary, not a cop. But hypothetical aside, in Martinez we already are vigilantes. At least the Union thinks so. I expect our job here to prove quite challenging.
The dying lights of the city shimmer below. Slowly, like luminous clouds, they pass on his lenses. The lieutenant looks at his slim cigarette, contemplating the next drag. This soldier is the highlight of the day for me, he thinks. This little stick right here.
They really don't like us here. And the mouth on that kid, Kuno. It's different inland, in Jamrock and the GRIH. It's our fault for leaving this place to the dogs, to the Union, to the company, not daring to come here more often. This place has fallen between the cracks, the jurisdictions of our two precincts. We run this city. West of the river is RCM land. It's incredibly hard. Human beings are... But we are in control, and it's worth it. The organization works, our systems work. If they didn't, the city would disintegrate. Me too, but I wouldn't count on any drastic changes in our lifetimes. Yeah, it's getting very cold now. Let's go.
The bed is cold and not particularly inviting, but it's yours. The sheets look awful. The sheets feel at once coarse and clammy against your skin. The bed sags beneath your weight as you stretch out and finally close your eyes. And then sleep doesn't come. And then sleep doesn't come. Obviously, you're in bed with your eyes closed, but it's not happening. Maybe it's the bed's fault. Its synthetic filling has separated into hard lumps. The pillowcase smells oddly. It barely covers your toes, stretching over your soft belly. This is your body here, intimate and warm, breathing. Under your thrumming eyelids, you see a dizzying array of colors. You won't get off this carousel quite so easily. It's a little better. Colors, scenes, and half-formed phrases still litter your mind. Part of you is still trying to solve the case, isn't it? Your breathing steadies. A great silence washes over you until your eyelids twitch in your sleep and images start forming.
Of your childhood. Do you remember your wife's hand on your face? That's right, funky baby. And you just stood there, one hand on the bottle and the other on your dick, watching her go. Let it all be dragged away from you. Tell me, where are your friends? Human beings have friends, Harry boy. Where the hell are yours? They were only cramping your descent into the abyss. Now they're gone. 3 times gone and never coming back. All of it. You failed. You failed me. You failed Elysium. Everything. The Pale and the Isolas on the surface. The outer magnetosphere. Burning, furious truth. 8,000 years of written history. You really dropped the ball, Harry. 4.6 billion people, and you failed every single one of them. You really fucked up. You're not coming back from shit. Thrashing around in that high conductivity state of yours, bumping into things and acting like a clown? Who are you kidding? You're trying to what? I can't hear you. This is just a word dream now. Jumbled up garbage. The pictures are gone. The bed rises to meet you. A thin, sleep-like state. More glass than velvet, grinding in your head.
So something is wrong. Sleep shouldn't be this bad, this dry, this unnourishing. There's something wrong with your thoughts. Some kind of new type of hangover. Oh yes, party boy, and it's worse than the one before. Just think of the shit you saw. Here it comes too, so soon already. A silent alarm goes off in your head like clockwork, barely let you sleep at all. Time to get those clothes on, Harry. Time to go to work in the shit factory.
Good going, buddy. Oh, just a dream. You have ones like that all the time. You feel even worse this morning than you did last night. You mean, why are you so tired? Too tired and down to even think? It is worrying, isn't it? You can't be a detective like this. Detectives need to be able to think. It's just that your heart has finally pumped all the speed out of your system, Buster. Time to get some more. Don't do that. Stay strong. The hangover will wear off. You don't need to keep doing this to yourself. Are you sure? Ready to live as this pathetic shell of yourself for days? Basically, a week? Let's be honest, 2 weeks. Maybe 3. You won't make it. Half the town will be dead by then. You will be fired. Suit yourself, slow, sad shell man. See how you do without your spark.